Here we are at our next podcast. Thank you so much, Aristide, for being here. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate being here.
Absolutely. So you are in charge of the mentoring program manager at the Governor's Prevention Partnership.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about yourself.
So in my role at the Governor's Prevention Partnership, I am all things training and technical assistance to the more than 150 mentoring programs around the state of Connecticut. And so we assist them in recruitment, we assist them in monitoring and supporting their programs, we assist them in liabilities and things of that nature. And so I really enjoy working with those programs because I'm a youth development person and program director at Hart. Mm-hmm. I've been in youth development my entire adult life. Okay. And so I really enjoy interfacing with the mentoring programs around the state.
Okay, that sounds exciting. So as a kid, did you enjoy playing by yourself, or did you enjoy working with others, like playing with other kids?
No, I grew up in a neighborhood full of kids, and so my friends, my childhood friends, I enjoyed playing football, basketball, hide and seek, all of those great games in my neighborhood. It was bursting with young people, and so, yeah.
Being alone wasn't an option.
It was not an option, and I'm one of 4 kids. My mother had 4 children, so, you know, I was never alone.
If you didn't have friends, then you had your siblings.
Exactly.
That's awesome. So did you play organized sports growing up? If so, what sports did you play?
The organized sports that I played was, I did boxing at our local, I'm from Massachusetts, and so I did boxing and I also did martial arts. Okay. For quite a long time. So I love those sports. It helped me with discipline, and it helped me with, you know, being focused. And so I enjoyed playing those sports growing up.
Yeah, I think those sports are definitely ones that boys being a part of that kind of like mold you.
It does.
It makes you like super structured, and you follow directions very well.
Yeah, it does. And you know, I remember my martial art instructor would say that, listen, I don't want to hear anything from your teachers and from people in the neighborhood because you're learning discipline here. Mm-hmm. And so that's something that I really, really enjoyed.
Yeah. Now, since you're from Massachusetts, does that mean that you're a Boston Red Sox fan?
Of course. I can't get away from it.
What were some of the favorite things that you did when you were a kid?
Well, I liked, you know, playing with my friends, of course. I love bike riding. I learned that from, you know, I'll talk about my cousin, who was like a mentor to me that, you know, taught me how to ride a bike when I was young. And I've always loved that, and I still do that till this day. Mm-hmm. I ride my bike all throughout the summer and the spring, and so those things were really, really dear to me, especially riding bikes, fixing bikes. I really enjoyed that.
That's awesome. It's important to have something that you cherish throughout your life, so it's good that you kept riding bikes. Did you have any mentors growing up, which again, you just said that you'll talk about, and how did they affect your life?
So, you know, I point to my cousin who actually taught me how to, you know, fix bikes, ride bikes, and I was able to, you know, start to fix the bikes in the neighborhoods, make a little bit of money, you know, from people. And so he was really influential in my life, being a mentor. And I had plenty of mentors throughout my lifetime, even now. Mm-hmm. And so my interaction with my mentors are always positive. And I think that no matter what stage of life that you're in, you should always be seeking a mentor. Mm-hmm. And it's very important when you're a young person, because at the end of the day, the older person, that caring relationship, they've been a young person before and you've never been an adult. Mm-hmm. And so that's what makes it worthwhile.
It's important. So now, just kind of like veering off, like as far as mentoring and the partnership and everything, were you guys during COVID able to still kind of like keep with the same thing that you guys are currently doing right now with your programs? You
know, we were probably the first mentoring program. We helped our programs shift from in-person mentoring to virtual mentoring.
Okay, good.
And so we put on those workshops and those trainings. We were the first out in the country. Oh, wow. And we were really giving direction to programs all around the United States, because they were like, we're stuck, we're on lockdown, what do we do? And we rolled out those tools for virtual mentoring, and we're still doing that to this day. And I think that the advantage of virtual mentoring is that, you know, even though now mentoring programs are meeting in person, but now you have the hybrid of virtual and in person. Mm-hmm. And so now that mentor, instead of meeting once a week, right, maybe can meet twice a week, right, or 3 times a week. And also for those corporate mentors that, you know, mentor young people at schools, they can meet with them more often.
Right.
And the commute is not the challenge, and so the relationship is much stronger and
Mhm.
also more time.
Right, and you can be more flexible where you are when you have your mentoring session.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's
So,
great.
you know, in the school-based mentoring, you know, the mentee will go to a designated place in the school,
Mhm.
hop on the computer, and their mentor will be at work, and they'll hop on and they'll have that interaction. They'll talk about things like academic support, how things are going emotionally in school. And
Mhm.
so that support for that young person is really great.
It's very important. I think with what I noticed as an educator, mental health really came full force into play. Like having people stop their daily schedules to now be home and trying to figure out what you need to do.
Yes.
Losing that everyday communication with teachers and students. You know, I think that was a challenge. So it's good that you guys were able to pick up and really keep it going, and still to this day,
Yes.
until you go into in-person.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's great. So tell us your journey in working in the field of youth development.
And so, you know, I'm glad that you asked that question. When I was about 18 years old, 17, 18 years old, I had a friend that worked at a summer camp.
Mhm.
And I said, you know, I want to do that, you know. And he said, oh, I can, you know, talk to the program director and see if we can get you a job there. So I actually got a job at the summer camp, not knowing that, you know, having that experience would put me on a journey to this day.
Mhm.
I loved it. I worked with 11 and 12-year-olds. That was my first group, being a camp counselor.
Yeah.
And I was a camp counselor of the year, the first year. I loved that. I loved doing it, working with young people. And also some of the things that I was missing as a young person that I could provide for those young people. So I've been in youth development, you know, since
Pretty
that
much
time.
your entire life,
My
it seems
entire-
like.
yes, yeah.
So what motivated you to work in the field? You said that, you know, it was, you know, being a camp counselor, and being the camp counselor, once you were away from it and you weren't doing it in the summertime, were you motivated to want to do it throughout the year?
Yes,
Okay.
and so after that experience, I said, you know, this was a great experience, so I got to look for another opportunity to work with young people, to kind of, you know, guide them and help them along. And so my second job in youth development, I worked in a minimum security detention center,
Mhm.
and where I had a caseload of a couple of youth. And, you know, that's a very difficult situation for a young person to find themselves in.
Mhm.
And then that's when I found out that I could work with youth that have challenges as well. And so that began the journey on working with young people, especially those that are a little needy.
Mhm.
You know, they need a little more than others. But also working with all type of youth. It doesn't matter if a young person is, you know, a high performer going to school on the way to go to college, or if they have more needs than others.
Mhm.
You can work in the youth development field because young people need guidance.
Right. Yeah, you do. I think that direction is important, like you said, whether it was someone that might need a little bit more
Exactly.
or less. It's nice to have that direction, because someone always
Right.
has questions.
Always have questions, and
Mhm.
you know, as an educator, that you work with young people that, you know, they have some challenges, right?
Mhm.
And you know they're good, you know, a good person on the inside, but they might have some outside challenges. And then you work with some people that are doing everything they need to do. They're doing great, and you want to affirm both of
Right.
those groups and work with both of them.
It's important to have that ability to switch up, to work with both of them,
Exactly.
you know, because you don't ever want to let any kid, just because they're a higher achiever, not to be able to get the same, you know, love and support that you're giving other kids.
Exactly. It takes the same amount of energy to support both of those different groups.
Right.
And you know, we'll put them in those buckets because that's the reality, right?
Right.
You know, there's some young people that struggle, there's some that don't, and but you still have to put the same amount of energy into both of those relationships, because at the end of the day, if there's a high achieving student, right, doing everything that they need to do, if they fall off, it takes more energy to get them back to that point than a person that needs to, you know, improve in those areas to get them to achieve more.
Yeah.
And so that's why youth development is so important, and you have to look at it that way.
You do. I completely agree with you. It's a ever-changing world, but at the
Mhm.
same time, you're doing the same thing, but it changes for every single person, just like you said. So it's super
Exactly.
important.
And that's why mentoring is the perfect intervention to work with young people.
Mhm.
Because of this, it's strength-based, right?
Mhm.
And we're talking about your goals, we're talking about those types of things, and everybody needs those.
Right.
Every young person needs those.
We all do. I think as an adult you do too.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
So what are the governor's prevention partnership, so wait, hold on, let me rewind. This is getting cut out. Okay, so what are the governor's prevention partnerships and how does it work? Like, what is your, like, let's say, like, what is a day in a life for you? Like,
Okay, so the Government Prevention Partnership, you know, we work with, we're a capacity building organization working with youth development programs all across the state of Connecticut. So we have a prevention arm which deals with substance use and things of that nature, and then mentoring that deals with mentoring programs. And so the day in the life, we're just supporting programs around the state of Connecticut to make them better.
mhm. Okay. So tell us about your journey at the Governor's Prevention Partnership and how did you get started there?
Okay, so I started at the Government's Prevention Partnership in 2016 when they wanted to start a mentoring program in 2 schools in Hartford, Connecticut. And so the first school was Simpson Waverly, and then the second school was Wish. And so they had a concept on paper that they wanted to have a mentoring program that supported about 90 students with youth development, academic support, and really supporting them around chronic absenteeism and family engagement. And so it was a concept on paper. I took that, we built a program out,
Mm-hmm.
and we got really up to about 100 mentees a year for those 3 years. And that's how I got started. So running a school-based mentoring program in Hartford, Connecticut is how I got started at the Governor's Prevention Partnership.
Okay, so you're based out of Hartford, but you travel around you travel around Connecticut with,
Yeah.
with the program.
Exactly. Well, our program is based in Weathersfield
Okay.
right now. And so, yeah, we support programs around the state. So we
Okay.
cover the entire state
Okay.
of Connecticut with so that particular project was something that was never done with the partnership before because it's capacity building. And so when you put boots on the ground, when you have an actual program that you're running, we were able to get that data back to support the mentoring programs, the school-based mentoring programs around the state with all the information that we gathered during those 3 years.
Okay. Now, do you pinpoint the schools that you're going into, or do people reach out to you to join the program?
Well, we work closely with the State Department of Education and different school districts around Connecticut to support them in their mentoring programs.
Okay.
So there's a lot of school districts that have mentoring programs, and so with all of the information that we learned with actually running a school-based mentoring program,
Right.
following the elements of effective practice for mentoring, we're able to support those programs.
Awesome. Okay. So it just, it seems like such an awesome program, and I think that every school should have it, but I know that
Yeah.
funding also comes into play when it comes,
Exactly.
with this type of establishment, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us about the most effective mentoring program. So how does yours make it to be such an effective program that you were able to branch out all over the state? And then second part, what are the characteristics of that program to make it so successful?
So one of the things that we do, we're an affiliate of the National Mentoring Partnership Mentor.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that, mentors develop a set of tools called the Elements of Effective Practice for Mentoring. And so what we do is we do training and support to mentoring programs around Connecticut through the Elements of Effective Practice. There are 6 standards, and we teach those standards. If you go to our website, preventionworks.org, you can sign up for our free trainings if you like, but we also do direct training and technical support with programs, and we really break down the elements so that they can have that to have a well-run program. And so that's how you have an effective program, following the elements of effective practice. And that's all around the United States and Canada, of course, and any of the U.S. territories are running those the elements.
Right, so basically, here at Pathways, if we wanted to have this, our teachers would be trained in it, and then we would take over and do the program in our school, because you're giving us the tools to be able to produce.
Exactly. When do you want to start?
He caught me on that one. No, absolutely. I'm going to talk to my principal and really see if that's something that we can get started in here.
Certainly.
I think it's important.
Yeah.
So is there a mentoring program that can be better, that can better help student athletes?
I think that, when we talk about different ways of, different approaches for mentoring, we have what we call everyday mentoring that specifically speaks to, coaches, paraprofessionals, school crossing guards, and give them the tools to be able to um, work with those young people that they're interfacing with every single day.
Mm-hmm.
They're already connecting with them on a certain level. And they're displaying mentor-like behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just give them the tools to be able to take it to the next level and to really formalize that relationship so you can track it and also make a big impact in that young person's life. Because it's all about relationships. And mentoring is, and I like to say this, is a relationship with a purpose.
Right, right. It's important because you can support people, you can have a relationship, but where does it go from there?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And it's also training young people to be able to find those adults in their lives once that relationship ends, for whatever reason. If you're in 8th grade and then you're going into 9th grade and it's a school-based mentoring program, once you get into 9th grade, you can identify those adults, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you've learned that skill, because you've had that relationship, and you know what it looks like. And so it's really good for young people to learn that skill as well.
Mm-hmm. I like that. So what does it take to be a good mentor? I mean, you're saying you're going to give all these different like standards and everything, and you have your different elements in your practices. But is everyone able to be a mentor?
You know, when we really get into the liability, there are some people that just can't be a mentor, of course, for other reasons,
Mm-hmm.
right? But for the most part, most people can be a mentor as long as you're a good listener, right?
Mm-hmm.
A person that doesn't judge somebody. You have a strength-based approach to working with young people. Then we can check all those boxes. You can be a mentor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So basically, you know, you have these check a box, but also it also is that heart, I think, too,
It
that
is
comes
that heart,
with it.
yeah.
You know, and that's where I think that element comes into. So how can people sign up? Like you said, you can go onto the website.
Yeah, go right to our website, preventionworks.org,
Mm-hmm.
and we have a portal there if you want to be a mentor. And we also we encourage, and I would encourage you to email me directly. You can find me right on the website, and if I can answer any questions, I'll feel free to do that.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate it.
All right, you're welcome. Thank
All
you
right.
for having me.
Thank you.